Hello, everybody. How are you today? I'm seeing some of you are already active in the chat, so that's fabulous to see, and welcome to all of you who are there. My name is Jen Raza. I am one of the co-founders of Altenew, and I also host some creative challenges every week. Now, before I get into my little welcome spiel, I do want to give you a disclaimer that I will be on vacation the next 2 weeks, so we won't have any creative challenges next week or the week after. So that means you guys will have extra time to join in with the challenge. And then I will be returning in mid-July. So my family goes on a trip. My in-laws rent the same house by the beach every single year. And we actually didn't go last year because our son was only a few months old and it just felt like things were crazy enough as is. The last thing we needed to do was like go on vacation. But I'm really excited to go back to the beach this year and see my in-laws and family on my husband's side. So you guys have extra time for that. Tracy says she likes my hair scarf. Thank you. I wore the rainbow. I should have worn this last week because last week we had the Radiant Rainbow Challenge. But today I'm like, well, I'm announcing the winner of the Radiant Rainbow, so I could wear my rainbow today. And I do want to show you the card that I created last week. So I think all that was missing was like one of the flowers needed to be blended, and then I needed to add the sentiment, and I also added some embellishments. So our challenge last week was to create a project using the whole spectrum, so all the colors in the rainbow, and you needed to come up with any project. It doesn't have to be a card, anything that uses like paper crafting supplies and integrate rainbow colors somehow. And you guys did a great job. This was the card that I created, and I'm really happy with how it turned out because I did some creative ink blending and I used all the colors in the rainbow. And then I added the greetings, sending healing hugs. A friend of mine, her mother just passed away, so I want to give this card to her. And I also added some little embellishments. So especially if you lose a loved one, you need a rainbow in your life. So I felt like this was a really fitting card to create for her, and I'll be giving it to her shortly. So let's get to the winner because you guys created your rainbow projects. And as always, it just takes me a moment to just share my screen. And here we go. So the winner actually created 3 projects, and I am sorry if I mispronounced your name, but Zainab is the winner for the Radiant Rainbow Challenge. I really, really love how the colors are so vibrant. It's like a very true to like rich representation of the rainbow. And I like the different patterns, and I like the ink blending, and I liked the greeting on the card in the middle, especially just with the black. I thought it looked really good with the rainbow. And of course, all those fantastic colors is the star of each of these projects. So congratulations to Zainab, whoever you are with your lovely name that I'm sorry I don't know how to pronounce. I hope that you are going to be able to get something great with your $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. Make sure that you mention that you are the challenge winner and email winner@altenew.com so we can hook you up with your prize. And as always, if you share while we're live, you also have a chance to win, and that'll be another $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. And all you need to do is share the live stream and then comment either on YouTube or on Facebook, wherever you happen to be watching in from, and then you will be entered in automatically. So just say, hey, I shared. And a lot of people have won this. We do it on every live. So think about all the live streams that we have every week and how long we've been doing this. So there have been many, many winners, and you might be the next one. If you also want to play along with our challenge that we have today, you also can have another opportunity to win. And oh my gosh, it is so hot up here. I'm going on a little tangent because I feel like I'm just like starting to melt. It is hot here in Massachusetts, so it's like in the mid 90s, maybe higher. I'm not sure. I have not stepped foot outside today. And my craft room is in the loft area of our apartment. So, of course, the heat rises, and I haven't been up here yet today. And I'm here and like I've turned the lights on, and it's just even hotter than it needs to be with the lights going on me. So, whew, I hope I survive. I should have grabbed some water or something to take up here so I don't like pass out on you guys. But man, oh man, it's a hot one. And I know a lot of you are experiencing a heat wave today. I even saw some comments before I went live. Some of you in the chat. Nancy says, send me your 70s. We're in the 90s. So, ugh. Seems like a lot of you guys are doing this or dealing with this weather as well. I love summer. I love the heat. I've been waiting for warm weather, but I think I wish too hard because this is not how hot I want it to be. Nancy says, try living in Georgia. I'm from Connecticut and not used to the heat. 96 today. Tracy hit 100 degrees. Yeah, welcome to Texas weather. Susan, I've never survived. If this is typical, no. That's terrible. I wouldn't be cool with this. It's too hot. It's like you go outside and it's like stifling to breathe. It's like, you can't do much. Maybe you could like walk 20 feet and then go back to the air conditioning or get a fan or something, spray yourself with water. Cause I feel like it would just be too hot to do anything outdoors today. Thank you to those of you who have already shared. So Maria has shared. I saw others. Vicky shared. Tracy asked, who's behind the badge today? Fabulous question. And I actually don't know. Usually I get a message on our internal group chat telling me who is behind the badge. Have we seen Altenew badge writing? Yep. No. All right. Whoever is behind the Altenew badge, I hope you're there. Otherwise, I'm going without a moderator today. Just identify yourself, please. Let me know who it is. And if we don't have a moderator today, because I'm not seeing a message, but I'm going through quickly. Usually whoever is moderating does like pop a little hello or something. If we don't have a moderator, then we're not going to be getting the links to the products. So no worries there. You can just search any product that I mention or share today. You can hop on the website, check out like the name. So just whatever it is, type that name into the search bar and you'll be able to find what it is. Tiffany saying no Altenew badge yet. All right. Maybe I've been abandoned by my team. Maybe everyone's melting today and like just don't want to be on the computer, right? It's too hot. Not a fan of that. So yeah, if I'm flying solo, then the other thing is any questions you guys have, I may not get to because as I'm creating and as I'm chatting, I'm doing my best to look at the chat and the comments from you guys. But if I miss any, my apologies in advance. All right, so let's get started with today's challenge. So today we have another fun one. This one is time traveler. Woo! I always thought time travel was cool. I love time travel movies. And anytime I see a time travel movie, even if it's like looks like trash, or even if it got terrible reviews, or even if it's like an indie film that had a budget of like $20, I will watch it. I love time travel that much. So this theme is all about getting inspiration from another decade. So, it's obviously not going to be the 2020s. You can do the 2010s if you find inspiration from there, but I think it'd be fun if we did like older decades. So it could be the decade where you were born. It could be your favorite fashion decade. It could be your favorite home decor decade. It could be a decade that you just have products that look like it would fit. You can do that. You can get inspiration from different colors. So I feel like different decades had different colors that were popular. Like we've got neon colors in the 90s and the late 80s, and you have kind of muted earthy tones in the 70s. So there's a lot of different ways that you can interpret this theme. And I think it'll be really fun to see what everybody creates. I'm just looking at my phone. I got a little ping that I got a message, not from anybody on the team. So I think we're still alone for now. All right. So with that, let me show you some of the stuff I've grabbed. As per usual, I don't have a plan yet other than the products that I decide to pull out. So let me pop my screen down. Just take a second to do that. There it is. All right. I'm already seeing people saying 70s, 60s, 80s baby. Yeah, I was born in the 80s. I was born in 1983, but I feel like I'm a child of the 90s because my childhood memories are pretty much from the 90s. When I was in the 80s, I was very young, so I don't have as many memories from the 80s. However, I love the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s as far as fashion is concerned. When I'm not wearing my pajamas or comfy clothes like I do every day while I'm on live, I usually just have a baggy t-shirt and my sweats on. I like getting dressed up in like vintage fashions. I really like the silhouette of like the 1950s where you have the big, huge poofy skirt, lots of fabric. I also like the sleek lines of the 40s with like really cool details. I know there were like fabric rations in the 40s due to the war, and they had to make do with what they had as far as fabric. So that's why you'll see a lot more slimmer silhouettes. I love the like short, cute hemlines of the 1960s, kind of like that mod fashion. And then I like the 1970s fashion with a disclaimer. I'm not like as into like the hippie dippy stuff, but the other 1970s fashions I also like. So I felt like we had a lot to work from, not even just thinking of fashion and clothing, but also design trends of those eras. So I grabbed some stuff that I thought might work. One of them is Pattern Power. Now, this is a really fun set because you use each of these stamps and you repeat them in multiple colors to create different patterns. So you can see some here. So like you would take this one image and rotate it 3 times, inking it up in different colors. Same thing here, inking it up in different colors and rotating. This one, you just do up and then flip it over. Here, this pattern, you just kind of shift over and stamp again, and you get these really great looks. Cool patterns here. So this is a really fun one, the Pattern Power. And then we also have a mini Pattern Power. That's a mini delight. I actually didn't grab that because I just thought of it, but we have that too. All right, I have the mid-century festivities. So this was inspired by 1950s, like mid-century home decor. And we've got a stamp set. So this is the stamp set and the die set. And yes, this is a Christmas, winter, holiday set. And no, I don't intend on making a Christmas card today, but I love this chair. And it's like super cute. So it's a multi-layered chair. So maybe I'll do something with that. Tracy says no one will be called a winner without someone behind the badge. You're right. I'm going to have to do that. So Tracy or anybody else, before I sign off, if you can just give me a reminder to select the winner of those of you who have shared, then I will do that because it's not part of my normal workflow after my live. You know, I should just write a reminder. Let's do that. I'm going to take a little scrap piece of cardstock. Okay. And we're going to write choose winner so I don't forget. That way, even if nobody shows up to be my right-hand woman, right-hand man, anybody, I'll make sure that I have the winner selected. So pick winner. All right. So hopefully I'll remember to do that. There you go. Okay. I'm seeing it's somebody's birthday. Oh, Barbara's birthday. Happy birthday, Barbara. That's great. I love when we have a birthday to celebrate. Maybe I'll be able to make a birthday card with my products. All right, so continuing on, I thought this alphabet looked kind of retro. This is the Mighty Alphabet die set. I love these two. These are actually 2 separate dies that were intended to work separately or together. So we have the mid-century cover die and we have the abacus cover die. And then if you layer them together, you get this really cool look. So I thought that was cool. This is kind of like 60s, maybe early 70s. You guys can call me out if you lived in these decades and you can say, no, Jen, that's definitely not early 70s. It's only 60s. But just based on what I know about like wallpaper, this makes me think of a wallpaper. I feel like you would see this maybe in the late 60s. And then this, Oh, this set has my heart. Maybe this is the one I'm going to use today. This is Vintage Vibes, and this was inspired by different decades. I'll actually read this for you because the description can tell you better than I can. You're not old, you're vintage. Inspired by the 1950s, 1960s, and 1970s, this stamp set is perfect for anyone who loves the retro aesthetic. It features a vintage television along with images and sentiments that you can stamp on the screen, as well as a fabulous roller skate with 2 pattern options, a floral arrangement and a rainbow, and the accompanying sentiments are sure to make you smile as they fit the theme perfectly. And yeah, this is super cute. We have like a TV screen that you can have a bit of like a nod to I Love Lucy if you guys like that show. We've got like a 1970s roller skate, so cute with the rainbow, but I think we have another option. Yep, if you want to stamp a flower on your roller skate. We have You're Not Old, You're Vintage, such cute little greetings. Even, let's see, You're Bewitching, kind of like Bewitched, the TV series, another great show. So maybe this is where I'll start, or maybe I could even, you guys, let's like level this up. Let's have TV and let's have a chair. So we'll make like a little living room scene. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I really like the roller skate too, though. If we have time, maybe I can also stamp a roller skate. But again, you guys know me. I tend to over plan and under deliver. Okay, so let's get a piece of cardstock at the ready. Geraldine says that was our huge TV down in the rec room, rabbit ears and all, and manual channel changer. Hashtag get up and do it yourself. Yeah, like where you had to like turn the knobs and there were like 10 channels on the knob or something, and that was it. And half of them were static, and you had to like get the antennas in the right position or put the tin foil on the edges of the antenna. I remember doing that as a kid, even in the 80s. I told you my memories are not really of the 80s, more of the 90s, but I think this was definitely an 80s thing, wrapping the antennas to make them longer using some tin foil. I don't know if it actually made it any better, but felt like it did. All right, so let's start with the TV, and I will be die cutting this out, so I don't need to worry about where I'm stamping it onto my cardstock. Marilyn says, does Altenew have a stamp and die set depicting an Asian urn? If you could be more specific with what an Asian urn would be, because I feel like there's probably a lot of varieties in that type of urn. I don't think we have anything that was specifically designed to be an Asian urn. However, I know we do have other pots and urns, like earthenware type images that might work for whatever it is that you're looking for. So just let me know. You could just be a little more specific on that. Tracy says we had 3 channels. Yes, that is correct. Yeah, we didn't really watch a lot of TV. And now, you know, what's funny is like if I don't have cable right now. We haven't had cable for probably 10 years. I do have streaming services though, so don't worry about me. I've got TV to watch. But like if I go to a hotel and they have cable and there's like 300 channels, I swear I'll be going through the channels and saying to myself, like, there's nothing to watch. I don't know what to watch. I can't find anything. I like, that's so crazy to think about because it's like we have infinite choices now. Or feels like infinite choices. And back when I was younger, yeah, we did not have many stations at all. We just had a few to choose from, and that was it. Oh, by the way, guys, the Vintage Vibes also has a coordinating mask stencil and stencil set, so you can utilize this as well in your creations. So just FYI, I don't know if I'll be using it today, but we'll see. Oh no, just the Vintage Vibe stencils. No. Usually, you guys, I check if the products that I'm using are in stock or not. However, I have to say for this one, I was just so excited to pull these vintage looks. I did not double check. So if it's not on our site, what you can do is check some of our wholesalers. So like Simon Says Stamp, for example, scrapbook.com, you have a lot of different places where you can find our products. I would just do maybe like a Google search if you're interested in getting this and look up Altenew Vintage Vibes stamp set and see where it's available. That way you can maybe find it from one of our other wholesale like retail sites. I love reading all your comments, you guys. I'll have to go back and read the ones I missed. Andrea says she remembers her parents having a black and white TV and they sold a multicolor plastic screen to put in front of it so you could pretend you had a color TV. That is hilarious. That's really, really funny. Okay, so I'm going to be checking out the layering guide. I've also got to think about what color to make my TV. And as tempted as I am to do like one of these fun colors, I think I'm going to stick with maybe some brown tones because definitely older TVs were like that. I feel like it's like brown, like laminate or like kind of fake wood look, not real wood, but just kind of wood. I think I'm going to use like pink sand, dusty rose, maybe not because it's kind of a little too on the pink side, but toasted mauve is a nice warm brown. And then redwood. I think these would look really cute for the television. Nancy says, how do we even manage back then? Good question, right? The kids now, I feel like such an old person when I say this, but like kids nowadays just don't get it. They don't understand what things were like back in the day. All right, I like how this looks. So I'm actually going to get some color inspiration straight from the sample. So that's why we always include colors. So these are all Altenew colors with our samples on the insert so that if you did want to recreate it, you can. So I know that for the TV's outer layer, this one, I'm going to use a lighter brown color. And then for this, I'm going to use a slightly darker tone. I could use black like in the image though, but I think I'm going to go a little bit just with that redwood color. I think that'll be really pretty. Okay, so let's just pop this here. I do want to leave space for the antenna. Like I said, I am going to be die cutting this. So I want to make sure that the antenna doesn't go off the edge of my cardstock. So that looks good. I'm getting another glare. You guys, I did adjust my my lights. Is that better? I think so. Okay, so let's go with the flip plate. And I don't know if pink sand is going to be dark enough. I think it's going to be on the light side. So I'm going to go with toasted mauve. And then I hope there's enough contrast between toasted mauve and redwood. This is an older set, so if you're curious as to why it's maybe not showing as available in the Altenew store, is it released a while ago. If you do like this style, especially of the chair that I'm going to be stamping out today, then hang tight because you'll be happy with one of the new products that's coming out soon. Ooh, this is dark. All right, I hope there's enough contrast. Oh, and I did not ink that well. I feel like I'm always talking about stamp conditioning, but you guys, it does make a difference when you're stamping. So here's one of our Stamp Perfect conditioning erasers. And now you'll see the ink just grabs on so much better. I do a little swirl and a pounce. Okay. There's a little spot right there. Okay, so I think there's just like a little piece of fleck. Yep, there is. There's a little fleck on my stamp. So what you can do, it's like a little fix if this bothers you. I'm going to take a little ball stylus and I dip the end of the ball into the ink and I just tap it on and I just cover that up. There you go. Done. Okay, so just a top tip for you right there. If you ever have a splotch, you could go and use that. I find that the ball stylus just like applies the perfect amount of ink in just a small little spot. Oh, you guys, I gotta tie my hair back. It is just way too hot up here. I feel like I should turn all the lights off and you won't be able to see anything, but I think that's what's making it a lot hotter here. Okay, so if I don't have enough contrast with the redwood, I will just go back over it in obsidian. It's more important to me to have the contrast than it is to have that redwood color. So we just make some choices around here. Okay, Miss Tam said that's a nice save. Yep. You do what you gotta do. Okay, so we have this layer here. And this is the one that I want to use, the redwood. And it does the little feet at the bottom of the TV. It does the like knobs for the TV as well. And then we also have additional stamps to do the knobs. So I can use a contrasting color if I choose. For those of you just joining us, we are traveling in time. I'm taking us to the 60s. I'm not the 60s, the 50s. Going way back. For, let me just condition this while we're here so I don't have the same issue as before. If you guys are just joining us and you want to play along with this challenge, then make sure that you create a project inspired by a previous decade. And when you post it, if you could just explain what your inspiration was, that'll help me a lot too. Okay, I'm just going to wipe off the antenna because I do want to do them in black, even if I have this layer in the redwood. Yeah, just let me know what your inspiration was and how it connects to your chosen decade. Now we get to decide, is this enough contrast? Oh, it looks good. I have to say, it definitely looks legit. I think I'm good with that. All right, so I'm going to leave this mounted here, and I'm going to ink up the antennas or antenna in my obsidian. Kim says you need a hubby to add an AC to your loft. Wouldn't that be nice? However, we're renting, so I don't think it's worth making major changes like that. Okay, I'm just being careful to selectively ink just the TV antenna. This would also be cute if I inked it up like in silver, like did silver embossing or something. Or you know what? How funny would it be if I got like a little bit of aluminum foil and I wrapped them in foil? Did anybody else do that? I keep talking about it. Am I the only one that did that to try to like boost the signal? All right, I'm happy with that. And now let's add our little knobby details. So I think the sand pink would look great for that. Oh, a portable one. Yeah, portable. I do have a window up here in the loft too. So I could do like a portable window unit. Okay, tiny stamps. If you've been here before, you know, for sentiments and such and tiny stamps, I like to use a just plain old block in my hand, like a crazy person. All right, let's moving along. Okay. So this right here is just going to be the outer edge of the knob. So I think that's what I'm going to do in the pink sand. Tracy has that $80 portable AC on my desk. Tracy, that's really cool. Does it suck a lot of electricity? Is it loud? Tell me your experience with that. I'm curious, because that might be a good choice up here. I know that's looking very light. I'm glad we did not do the TV in this color. But you can see right there. Now, the Dusty Rose, even though it is a little bit on the pinky side, I think that'll look cute for the little knobs. Maria, yes, they use foil. Nancy did the foil. Nikki, all right, thank you guys. I thought I was losing it. Or maybe I'm like, maybe it's just our family and we thought that that would help and it did nothing. Okay, they're like cubes. Okay. And I wonder how much it cools down. Is it just like a personal one that maybe the only the person in front of the vents would get the benefits of the air conditioning? I'm curious about that too. Okay. This TV is looking mighty cute. I do think I want it to be having on I Love Lucy. Well, not I Love Lucy, but like the generic, not actually I Love Lucy, but the I Love You TV. So we'll do that. All right, let's get a nice gray to use for this outer part of the television. Oh yeah, and then wasn't it funny how like the old TVs had like a domed front to them? I always thought that was interesting too, that like the image was curved. It's so weird compared to like the huge flat screen TVs we have now. Carrie says, I was my father's remote control. He would snap his fingers and make a circular motion with his index finger. And that meant to get up and turn the channel. That's hilarious. That's really, really funny. I remember when we got a TV that had a remote for the first time. That was very cool. Like just thinking to myself, like, oh, I could just sit here on the couch and I could change the channel. The other thing I remember is, you know, since again, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, I remember having my Nintendo, like the original Nintendo Entertainment System. And then, of course, we also got the Super Nintendo when that came out. And in order to watch it, you like had to be on channel 3. So you had it all hooked up to the back of the TV. And then you popped on channel 3 so that you could play your game. Lots of fond memories of that and fighting with my brothers over who got to play, because there were 3 of us and most games had 2 players, right? Either 1 or 2 players. If it was a 1-player game, it always was my older brother and he forced us to watch him. If it was a 2-player game, my older brother was always one of the players and then my younger brother and I would switch off. Tell me how that's fair. I have no idea. Okay, let's go with grays now. And I think I'm going to use the warmer grays for the TV because maybe you guys can help me make this decision. I think in reality, the TVs are cooler grays, right? Like a more neutral gray tone of the TV. But I have warm browns as my television set, so I don't know if the warmer grays would look better on the TV. So whoever is first to tell me if you want me to use the warm grays or the cool grays, just let me know. And while someone's making that decision for me, I'm going to go read another comment. Tracy just says Amazon. I'm not really sure what you're referring to, Tracy. Is that where the air conditioning comes from? It just says Amazon. Nikki was an Atari baby. Yeah, Atari was a little bit before my time. Nikki had Pong, and it would bloop back with the knobs. Sue says cool gray, and then Nancy said warm gray, but cool gray was just a bit faster. So we're gonna do the cool gray. So thank you to those of you who helped me make that choice. And I'm going to do, I think, industrial diamond for this outer layer. And again, just going over this, it's been a very long time since I've inked up this stamp set, since it is more of a vintage. It's actually a vintage Altenew stamp set from earlier years. Okay, we've got that going along. And then let's do the inner parts of the TV. Oh, speaking of TV being black and white, would you believe that I just saw The Wizard of Oz pretty much for the first time a couple of days ago? And by a couple of days ago, I mean like over the course of 3 days I watched it, because I only have time to watch things while my son's napping. So like over 3 different naps, I watched that movie. I don't know how I've gotten to be in my 40s and have only just now seen The Wizard of Oz, but I was thinking about how amazing it must have been for people who, you know, were used to black and white TV or movies to finally be able to see in color. And if any of you guys experienced that when it came, not when it came out, obviously, right? When it came out in the 30s, like, I guess some of you, right? I'm just trying to think. Maybe some of you were around in the 30s, but even like when you were older and you got a color TV for the first time, I'm curious what that experience was like for you. Okay. Was it the 30s? Now I'm like questioning myself. Someone can do fact check. You guys have Google. When did that movie come out? Geraldine says, can you tell Xiomara we are all waving hello to her, please, while she's driving? She can't hear us, only you. They're waving at you. Xiomara, they've got you. All right, so let's get the little heart stamped out. Well, you guys are fact checking me on when that movie came out. And when I say that I like kind of saw it for the first time, first of all, obviously pop culture references are all over the place for The Wizard of Oz. And like it's a pretty well-known story. And I'd seen clips many times. However, I also watched it when I was in college and I did The Dark Side of Oz. Tell me if you know what that is. But what you do basically is you take the Pink Floyd album, Dark Side of the Moon, and you watch it. Well, you watch Wizard of Oz while listening to that album. And I think you have to listen to it like twice through because the movie is fairly long. And then it matches up. Like, of course, any song or music that you listen to with a muted TV, you're going to find parts and moments that match up, right? Like, oh my gosh, that looks like it was made for it. But the thing about The Dark Side of Oz is that there are many moments that seem to match up, and it's really cool. So I had watched the movie in its entirety, but muted while listening to Pink Floyd. August 1939. Thank you so much, Scissor Sprite. Cute name too, by the way. I like that. So it was released in the US in 1939. So I was correct in the 30s. So yeah, that was a while ago. Think of how revolutionary that must have been when, you know, we finally got a movie that had color in it. It's spectacular. Oh, this was darker than I wanted. Okay, and I did not condition my stamp and it's darker. All right, so let's see how we can fix this. I think I might go over it with some white pigment ink. This is getting risky, you guys. We're going off script here, as always. Tracy said she never heard of that. Nikki never heard of it. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this was a thing. I don't think I made this up either, right? Obviously, I didn't make up the tinfoil on the TV antennas. That was real. I don't think I made this up either. Look it up and let me know what you see about that. So using the Dark Side of the Moon for the Dark Side of Oz. So you do it together. All right, look at this, how great it is that we have these stencils, right? Because now I get to fix my inking mistake. And it'll be pretty easy. Actually, before I fix my inking mistake, let's do a little bit of blending of a lighter gray here, because I think it'd be great if we had the limestone. So I'm just using this stencil, and we're going to mute out this dark color with some white, but I do want to do limestone on the edges first. Oh, Altenew badge is here. Please tell me who it is. Identify yourself, mystery Altenew lovely lady. Okay, I do have limestone, making sure I grab the correct ink. All right, I think this will be good, just to give us a little bit of color. Oh, I could have embossed the heart to fix it. Sina, you are correct. That would be great too. But this should be good. So I've got this, and look how perfect this is that I did not condition my stamp, because now it looks like static, a little bit of TV static, which again, if you're used to these old TVs, you know that static was a major factor in television for a very long time. Okay. Oh, and it's Han. Okay. Hello, Han. Thank you for coming. And no worries about being late. We've been making do. It's obviously better with you here, but we've been surviving. Okay, now I've got my cloud white pigment ink. Now this is a thick ink, so as I've done or explained before, you can use your ink blending brushes with pigment inks, but I tend to not cross-contaminate between pigment and dye inks, because even after you wash it, there still could be some residual pigment ink. It's very thick and very hard to clean up. Okay, so let's go over this. Now I can change the intensity of how opaque this is based on how much ink I lay down, but also like how many layers. Because once this dries, you can intensify that white with another layer of white. This is really good, actually. I'm very happy with this mistake. Happy little accidents here. Okay, so that has toned down the TV quite well. And again, it looks like static, which I love. Oh, perfect. Look at that. So you can still see the heart. If I'm worried about there being too much white, I could also take a little paper towel and just rub some of that off because it's still wet. It takes a little while for the pigment ink to dry. I actually don't have a paper towel here. I could just take a little piece of scrap paper. Geraldine says, remember waking up late to the sign off colors, then static? I don't remember that, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, so look, I can get rid of some of this white. It's just taking some off just to let a little bit more of that heart peek through. But this is looking great. Okay. Now, even though it's not completely dry, I am going to just stamp the I love you on it because we've got to move on or we're not going to have time to finish. So this stuff I will clean later. So you can see I have some of that white ink around here. And then I will clean off my white mini ink blending brush. Oh, and by the way, black and white ink, I just leave on my desk all the time. Obviously, I grab the obsidian way more than I grab the white, but I feel like it's also just great to have white on your desk to do different techniques or obviously fix mistakes like this. Since this is a small image, I'm bringing back the acrylic block. Oh, and I could get rid of this, you guys, because now Hannah's here and she will pick the winner. Hannah, this was my reminder so that I didn't forget to pick the winner of our challenge, but now you're here. Fabulous. And we're also aware, Hannah, that this set is sold out. So I'm using the Vintage Vibes stamp set. Those of you just joining us, we're doing a time traveler theme. And the time traveler theme allows you to create a project that is inspired by a previous decade. Cute. I love this. Okay, I'm going to set this aside to dry a little bit just because now, especially with the obsidian pigment ink sitting on top of the white pigment ink, this is definitely going to transfer to my die cutting plates. So I want to prevent that from happening. So we're just going to leave that off to the side a little bit. And now we can get to stamping our card panel and our cute little chair to make a little scene. Okay, let's think about how we want this scene to go. And I'm going to grab the die for this because I'm not sure if I want to do a vertical orientation card or a horizontal. So if I have the dies, I can place them onto a, oops, I got a little ink here. Now let me cut a new card panel. But I could place them onto a card panel and use that to help me, use the dies to help me figure out my arrangement. So I'm just going to take a piece of cardstock and cut it. Last week I had to do this too because I've talked about the fact that I usually have a stack of A2 panels that are pre-cut. I just take some time, I watch a show, and I pre-cut panels. But I have not done that in a while, and I've run out of panels. And I'm so distracted by my craft room organization that I've been working on that I have not had a chance to replenish my card panels. So let's get these here. So yeah, now we could think about if this is vertical, we have our TV and we have our chair. That's kind of cute. Or if we go this way, Geraldine says, I love Lucy with Lucille, Desi, Vivian, and Bill. Yes. Although Desi is Ricky. So, because you're right. Vivian's, is it Vivian and Bill? What are the neighbors' names? Ethel, is it Ethel and Fred? I think it's Ethel and Fred. Lucy's the only one who got to keep her real name. All right. This obviously makes a lot of sense, but I think visually the other is more interesting, right? Like if we imagine having the little chair in front, I think that works better. Okay, so because the chair is going to go in front of the television, I also have to die cut this. So let's see, do we fit? Oh, that's cutting it close. I could stamp it here and then die cut both out. That's way too scary. So let me grab my piece of cardstock that had that ink smudge on it anyway, and I'll use this to stamp Ethel and Fred. It was Ethel and Fred. Yep, Ethel and Fred Martz. What a great show. I love that show. I used to watch a lot of Nick at Night because they would replay all of these old shows. Guys, I'm making such a mess. I've like misplaced my stamps. All right, let's tidy up a little bit. I don't need my 9x12 sticky mat. Do need to hold on to the dies so I don't lose them. I do need to keep this. I will put it on my computer where I usually leave things as I'm working on something else. And here are my stamps. Okay, so if I would like to just use the chair, because again, this is a holiday set, I don't need everything else. I think it's just 3 layers, 1, 2, and 3. That should be easy peasy. And I love the turquoise. Usually I'm at a turquoise chair at my craft desk. However, I currently have my turquoise chair over by my sewing area. So I just have like a regular lame office chair that I'm sitting on right now. But I'm going to make this inspired by my turquoisey chair. So let's do these colors here. So we've got Dewdrops, Aqualicious, Teal Cave, and Galactic Stream. And then I still have the, let's see, the dark colors, the browns that I was using before, the toasted mauve. I think that would be great for the little legs. Christine says, is that stamp set available? Han will have to put that in. Because again, I was going for the theme when I selected products today and was not checking. I should have double checked, but I was not checking what is currently in stock. So check that if that stamp set is available. And if it is not, again, my advice would be to go to one of our retailers' websites or just go online. Make sure that you're purchasing from a reputable seller, because if you go to like Etsy or like we do sell some stuff on Amazon, but if you go like Etsy or Amazon, like you don't know what you're getting. So make sure you're going to one of our retailers, and then they might have it in stock if for some reason it's not in stock. Okay, so since this will be die cut as well, I don't need to worry about where it's placed on this piece of cardstock. And if I want to see some color inspiration, be helpful if I started with the first layer, right? The color inspiration I have in the insert, and mine's going to look a lot similar, very similar to that one. Super cute colors. Okay, we have this, and then I just need the flip plate. And I still had my heart on my flip plate. Let's put that back on the acetate before we lose it. Christine says that tree would look cute with the Cozy Spaces kit, the July kit. Yeah, so if you are a subscriber, you've already seen the July PK. I don't know if it's been shown publicly yet. I don't know all of those dates on when they showcase the project, the new kits. So if you haven't seen it yet, stay tuned, you will see it. But those products would fit so perfectly with what I'm stamping today. Okay, let's skip the Dewdrops and let's go with like Aqualicious and then Teal Cave. Okay, just like that. Tracy is saying that Coco Rosa is also knockoffs. Okay, I'm actually not familiar with that. I'll check with our team, because we do have a team in place to try to combat some of those knockoffs so that We get them taken off the market so that people aren't duped or tricked into buying them. Yeah, the issue with knockoffs is a lot of times it's very low quality, produced in other countries, usually China, not with photopolymer. And if it's not like a US made photopolymer stamp, it's questionable what the quality is going to be. And if it's a knockoff, then that means they stole our designs. So obviously that's problematic as well. Okay, so we've got the second layer. And this just nestles in to the right and bottom edge. We do have the layering guide if you weren't sure, and that'll just help you with your positioning. And now I'll use Teal Cave. And again, if it doesn't have enough contrast for me, I will go back over it with Galactic Stream. I think this should be dark enough. That's super cute. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, now we are getting to the legs. And then I could cut these out. And then that's probably all we'll have time for today. And you guys know that if you don't finish your challenge project, you can still upload it and still have a chance to win. However, you guys have some extra weeks because I will be on vacation for 2 weeks and I won't be seeing you until mid-July. So hopefully you do have time to finish your projects. But if you don't finish your project, you can upload a work in progress. And since I don't think I'm going to be finishing my project, then you'll have to wait until next time to see it, the dramatic conclusion. Now, if you're wondering, what are you doing, Jen? You're not ready to die cut yet. I know I'm not ready to die cut yet. However, this is how I'm going to get perfect placement of the legs, because I would really hate it if I misplaced where these legs belong. And then when I went to die cut it, it's like, oh no, it's not aligned properly. So here's my tip. You take the die, you place it where it belongs. Okay, you could even take a little piece of tape. Like this is just a little scrap of our masking tape. This is satin masking tape. Okay, so I'm just going to put that little bit down. You know, I don't even usually do this, but since I'm live, you know, I don't want it shifting while I'm live. Okay. Now I take this image and I just pop it where it belongs, right here. It just kind of fits in. It's pretty cool how it just, you'll feel it when you've got it locked in. Okay, mine's locked in. Now I will take my flip plate or whatever stamp positioner you may have. Hopefully you have a stamp wheel, but if you don't, you can use any other stamp positioner. And I'm going to pick up the legs with the flip plate. Now I know they're in the right spot. I remove the die. I'll also hang on to these little pieces of tape because I'll use that while I'm die cutting. And now I can ink this up and I know it's in the right spot. And I know that when I die cut, it's going to be perfect. I actually almost considered doing this with the antenna on the TV because they're thin and like potentially wiggly. So I did not want to risk that, but we'll see how it goes when I die cut it. And look, it is the absolute perfect placement of those little legs. Okay. And if I want to put my die over it, it is exactly in the right spot. There you go. Okay. So that's just a little tip for you. If you ever have something like this where you're trying to align another layer of a stamp and you want it to match up with your die, or in the case like of the TV antenna, if you're worried about like floppy stamps not really being straight or where they're supposed to be, you could use that little die tip. Obviously that only works if you have the die set. Okay, now let's put this back where it belongs and we can start doing some die cutting, and then I'll sign off and you guys will have to wait until next time to see my finished project. But I really like how this is coming through. And I like all of our conversations we've had today because I'm learning so much about all of you and your shows you like to watch and what decades you grew up in, all those wonderful things. Okay, let me just take a scissor and slice up this A2 panel because I'll be using my mini blossom, and the mini blossom plates are 3x6, so I know that's not going to fit through. I almost lost my TV for a second, but I put it on top of the computer. That's where it ends up. And we'll just do a rough cut around this too. Let's see how I did with the antenna. I think that one's a little wobbly. That one may go off course. Yep, that one's a little off course. Okay, I'm not worried about it, but you will see when I cut this that had I done my trick and put the die down and then placed that next one and lined up my antenna, this would not be an issue. But, you know, here we are. No one's going to notice or care. I'm positive of that. And if they did care, they don't deserve to get this card. If they got this card and that's what they were worried about, is that one of the antenna was going outside of the die line, then they don't get cards anymore. All right, let me just pull over the mini blossom. And I've got my A plate and my B plate. I don't need to use the shim. We have a metal shim that's great for intricate dies. Oh, I do need to trim this panel a little bit more. I don't need to use that because there's no inner cuts here. There's no details. The shim really helps when you have a detailed image that you want to make sure all those details cut fully through the cardstock. And that's true with any die cut machine. No matter what type you have, they usually sell a shim that would give you that additional pressure if you're having trouble getting through. That could be depending on the intricacy of the die. It could also be depending on the material that you're cutting. If you don't have a shim that comes with your machine, you can use some cardstock. So I've done cardstock shims before. You guys, look how bad this is. I'm going way off the edge. I do have my little like fine liner pens. I could get a ruler and just like fix that, but I don't care. I'm going to leave it. Okay, let's die cut my little chair. Xiomara, thank you for sharing, because now you are entered to win that $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. If you would also like to have a chance to win that, please share within the next couple of minutes, because I will be signing off soon. And that's when we're going to select the winner, and the winner will be tagged in the comments. So that way you know if you won. Okay. Let's crank this guy through. Love it. Okay, we did a lot of talking, you guys, and not a lot of card making, but look at this scene. This is going to be really, really cute. I love it. Okay, so this is my work in progress. This is inspired by the 50s. Okay, I don't wonder how many seasons I Love Lucy was, because it definitely bridged quite a few years. And I believe there were color episodes too. Well, that could have been like the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour. I think there was like a spinoff or something. Yeah, so my original inspiration is 1950s mid-century. So I think this is a really cool look. I'm not sure exactly what else I'm going to use. Maybe one of those cover dies that I showed you in the beginning. If I have them, yep, there we go. Like the abacus and the mid-century cover die. These might look cool in the background, or especially just this one, maybe like kind of like a wallpaper-esque look, or I might just keep it plain. Maybe I'll do some ink blending. I'm not positive, but we'll leave that like that today. And let me flip you back up. Guys, I am wet. There is wetness right now from how hot it is up here. I cannot wait to just like hop in a cold shower right now, because this heat is really getting to me. And I'm sorry to anybody else who happens to be stuck in this heat wave, especially those of you who may not have AC. We do have AC downstairs, but it doesn't seem to make its way up here in the loft. So it's just been brutal. So I'm really excited to go back downstairs. But I want to thank you all for joining us today. If there were any products that were missed, just tag us or something, because my My lovely assistant Han wasn't here in the beginning, so may have missed some of those products, but it looks like she got pretty much everything that I was using. And if there are any questions that did not get addressed, again, you can just tag us and we will address them in the comments. And you have some extra time for you to do your time traveler project. So make sure it is a project that is inspired by a previous decade. Explain or tell us what the decade is in your post. You need to post it publicly with hashtag Altenew Challenge Live, and that's the way that I'll be able to find it. And when I get back from my vacay, I will be going through all of your projects. I hope there'll be many because you guys are getting 2 extra weeks to work on this. And then we will be announcing the winner, and we'll have a brand new challenge for you in mid-July upon my return. So really, it's been a good one. I can't wait to see how you guys find inspiration from a previous decade, maybe the sentiment, maybe the color palette, maybe the products, like how I used some retro-y looking products today. And that'll just about do it for me. And I really hope that all of you have an amazing and crafty day. Bye-bye.